Yeah, on today's lesson with calculations with Uncle Kev, we're going to do square meters. Square meters. How does that look like? Pretty much like this. 1 metre equals 1 metre squared. Now when you've got it drawn like that, we've got a metre by a metre, that's a metre in height and a metre in width, then that'll equal 1 square metre. And it's drawn up like that because there's two measurements involved. Two measurements is going to be a height and a width. So in each particular case, to get the square measurement, we need a height and a width, and that's going to give us our square measurement. Why do we need to know this? If you're looking at a wall, or you're looking at a floor, or you're looking at a house, a lot of it is done in square metres. A typical house built in the 60s and 70s was about 100 square metres. They had 3 or 4 kids living in a 100 square metre house, but nowadays people are building houses 200 square metres. They're almost twice as big, but that might include a garage or something like that. So, and even of late, people are starting to look, especially up in Auckland, of getting smaller houses and just bringing them back down a wee bit, so they sort of got too big. But the house is measured in square metres. The section you buy, you used to be able to get a 1/4 of an acre section, the old Kiwi 1/4 acre, you might hear of that. That was an old measurement, and that was about just over 1,000. I think it was 1,011 square metres was the old 1/4 of an acre. Way too big for a section these days. A good section these days is 600 to 700 square metres, and they're spoken of in metres square. That's why you need to learn all this stuff and know so you can relate it to sizes. Now, if we look at a building, we'll start off with a rectangular shaped building. And this building's 8.5 metres in height, and it's 12.75 metres long. Right, we need a formula. So our formula over here, height times width equals metres square. Alright, so if we do this for this first one, height, what height have we got? 8.5 times length, width 12.75, 8.5 times 12.75 equals 8.5 times 12.75 equals 108.3, 108.37 metres squared. Right, so that's the typical size of an old early house, just over 100 square metres. Now, if we bring a rebate into that equation, how do we go with that? That could be the shape of our house. 17 metres 500 long, 12 metres high, and it's got a rebate there of 3.6, and that measurement there is about 5.5. Okay, now we've got to work out how many square metres in our house. So we're going to do the same formula, but we're going to divide it into 2. So from here, we'll just put a wee dotted line, and we're going to work out this shape, and then we're going to add this shape, and when we add the 2 together, that's going to give us our total metres square for our building. Alright, what have we got here? 17.5 less 3.6, 0.5 minus 3.6 equals, now we know that it's 13.9 metres from there to there. Okay, now that we've worked out that, we can work out our big square first. So we're looking for our formula, our height, 12 metres times our width. Our width is here, 13.9, equals our smaller square, our height is 5.5, times 3.6, our width, and then we'll add those two together. So we've got 12 metres times 13.9 equals 166.8, and then we've got 5.5 times 3.6 equals 19.8, and we'll add them together. 166.8 plus 19.8 equals 186.6 metres squared. There's our answer. So by breaking it down into the two easy squares, then following our formulas will be given in an assessment situation, then we should be able to work through and do it like that. Now there is another way, although I don't want to complicate it, but some people may prefer to make a big square and then do a deduction. But I personally, I'd rather do what you've actually got and do smaller squares and then add them up, come up with that. And does that sound about right? Because it's good to do a mental arithmetic. 17 times 12, 20 12s are 240. So if it was longer, less that and that, it's got to be under 200. So we're about 190. So it's got a good sound to it. Just do a bit of mental arithmetic just for that last wee test. All right, that's how you work out any square metres. Now I think it would be good to do one of these as an exercise. So if we can draw a building on the board here, something like that there, and if we've got a width there of 17.5 metres, we've got a height here of 15.750 metres. Over here we've got about 10 metres, and up here we've got about 8.2 metres. Right? So I suggest you do what we learnt in the practice, divide it down here into two segments, then you'll be able to add them together and we'll come up with a total square metres for this size here. So if you just write them down, and then I'll be back and then we'll run over the answers. Right? Right, now I hope you followed that through and divided that into two sections there. We've got our formula here, we've got two boxes and then we'll add them up. So the first box, we'll do the biggest one first. So the biggest one here is a height of 15.7. 5 times the width of here, 10 metres. Our second box has got a height of 8.2 times the width of 10 metres of 17.5. That's going to give us 7.5 metres there. So now 15.750 times 10 equals 157.5. 8.2 times 7.5, 8.2 times 7.5 equals 61.5. Now we add those two together, 61.5 plus 157.5, 219 metres squared. We need to know what we're talking in. So it's 219 square metres for our size here. Does that sound about right? Let's have a look. 15 times 17, bit out of it. So if you went 15 times 15, that's 225. 15 times 15, so that's within the ballpark figure of 219. So if you got that, well done. If not, just have another practice with that. using that formula and getting accurate measurements off the plan, it's a good skill in itself. All right, thank you.